welcome to the MVP Show. My intention is that you listen to the stories of these MVP guests and are inspired to become an MVP and bring value to the world through your skills. If you have not checked it out already, I do a YouTube series called How to Become an MVP. The link is in the show notes. With that, let's get on with the show. Welcome back to the MVP Show. Today's guest is from Huran in North Holland. Edine, welcome to the show.
Good morning. Well, good evening to you, but good morning to me. Hello, Mark.
So good to have you on. I often, I've spent some time in the Netherlands, so I'm familiar with it a bit. A couple of cities I've been there. I've never been to Holland, though.
No? Where have you been?
Amsterdam, of course. And then is it The Hague? I've been to The Hague. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
Those are the two main places I've spent my time in the Netherlands. And I mean, I went to Amsterdam like at least 5 times. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm not too far from Amsterdam. It's about 30 minutes by car to the north of Amsterdam.
Okay. So let's kick off with food, family, and fun. What do they mean to you?
Well, my family is my husband, Lloyd. He's from England. I met him online in a video game a couple of years ago, and it's miraculously worked out. Yeah, it's a strange version of online dating, but it worked out great for us. We got married 2 months ago.
Awesome! Congratulations.
Thank you. And we'll live together in the Netherlands with our 2 dogs and 3 cats. And we love food. My husband loves cooking, and he loves experimenting with all sorts of food. We also have a Kamado barbecue that we really love to spin up and make some really good smoked and low and slow.
And so,
cookers.
Are you still gaming a lot?
I'll try to squeeze at least an hour in a day where possible. It's becoming more and more difficult after becoming an MVP, and there's so many other fun things to do because of it. But I still try to squeeze in a couple of hours on the weekend and about an hour a day just to wind down and relax. And
what's your game of choice?
I'm currently playing World of Warcraft. I've been playing World of Warcraft for so many years, actually. And I have a Nintendo Switch too, obviously with Donkey Kong and Kirby and the Pokemon games. The Switch is a great little tool to just play a little bit in bed or play a little bit on the sofa.
Nice. I think I've gone over a year now without doing any gaming, and I've got a big machine set up next to me with a high spec graphics card and crazy amount of RAM and everything, but I just haven't had a chance. It's just you're right, you get busy, and then that's good that you're able to still continue to work it in to your lifestyle.
Yeah, there's just so many fun things to do, and I have the proper gaming machine as well. So I always find it fun to just put a computer together, even though it's becoming easier with every single generation.
So tell me about your area of specialty in tech. What is it?
My area of specialty is Microsoft 365, and then especially the collaboration and the productivity side of things. So think Teams, SharePoint, Copilot, Loop, Planner, To-Do, Outlook, basically anything an end user would use in their daily workflow.
Nice. And has that meant in the last couple of years there's been a greater focus on Copilot?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Basically, at least 2 days a week, I do Copilot-related work. And that's just for customers. I work as a consultant. But we also work on making our own products and our own, trying the new tech out for ourselves before we recommend it to customers, which is also really fun to do.
Nice. So in the Copilot space, with the work you do with customers, what's the main focus? What type of work is it?
I guess the main focus, it's basically on 3 different subjects, and they're pretty equal. It's using Microsoft 365 Copilot for personal efficiency, just as your little personal intern that can help you out throughout the day. But we also see a lot of shifts towards agents, and then both let's quote the easier to implement agents from Copilot with Copilot Studio, but also a lot of requests for the more difficult ones using Azure AI
So are you
Foundry.
working in the Foundry side as well?
I'm not working in the Foundry side, but I do make sure I know enough about it to be a advisor for the customers. But I will, if we have an inspiration or a workshop day with a client, we will always make sure that one of us knows about Copilot and Copilot Studio, and one of us knows about Azure AI Foundry, so that we can just to be a better source of information for the customer. Because I do think they go hand in hand and they make each other better.
I like that. Tell me, I'm interested in drilling into the area that you said around like having your own little intern for productivity and things like that. Like, what are the use cases people are using it for that you see most commonly? You know, in the early days we saw, you know, obviously Teams and summarizing meetings. How far have you gone beyond that? And what are you seeing some perhaps even more unique ways that people are using the technology to help them in their work?
Obviously, you still see the version for Teams a lot for summarizing meetings, especially now with the new facilitator agent, the one that actually joins your meeting and keeps track, and then takes your meeting notes for you, takes the follow-up points, reminds you of your meeting agenda in the top bar of your meeting, also in your chats, and keeps track of the track of time of the meeting for you. We see that one a lot. Customers really like the facilitator agent. But let's think about the more unusual use cases. We started using the knowledge agent a lot. It's currently in public preview. But the knowledge agent is also very good at adding metadata columns to your SharePoint sites. It's basically making your information architecture better. That one is something I'm really excited about, especially now that Copilot uses metadata in its grounding, which makes SharePoint the next big thing to improve on to make sure your Copilot is better.
Tell me about Loop, because I noticed on your MVP profile that Loop was mentioned.
Yes, Loop is mentioned. In the starting days of Loop, I got a lot of questions from customers, especially from government customers, how Loop works and especially where they store their data, because governments have to comply with all sorts of extra rules when it comes to data storage and data retention. So I just made that my thing and I dove into it and I completely started to learn where Loop stores something, how you can retain it, how you can save it, or how you can delete it after a amount of time, what the permissions are. And that got me invited on to a lot of user groups to tell me about it. So I went from a less than loving relationship with Loop to as the product got better and started getting more development love, I started to like Loop because I knew I knew a lot more about it. And now now I'm talking about how you can use Loop in your daily work. And not just Loop, but also Copilot Pages and Copilot Notebooks. They're from the same product team.
I personally love it. I have that many loops. It's not, I organize my entire, I used to be very big into OneNote, and now I do not touch OneNote at all. I run everything from Loop, and even I'm using it to store a lot of my complex prompts. So, when I say a complex, I like to write my prompts in Markdown, and the code function in Loop allows me to select Markdown and I get to visually see all the coloring. And I will have, I love the expanding menu, menu options, and you can nest data. So I will have, let's say, a 3-part prompt with a code block for my first execution. After that's run and I've got output, then I'll do my next. And I keep refining them. So I'll hand those back in over time as the models change, etc., and improve on them. And yeah, they just get better and better and better. And of course, I have one that knows my voice, how I talk, how I say stuff, what I like from a grammar perspective. And I just find Loop amazing for that.
Yes, it is really good for that. I personally use it a lot when it comes to the little ad hoc projects that we have at work. So not the structured projects, but the ones that we have amongst ourselves. And it's just a good place to store information, share a page with someone, or just share a little piece of the loop page with someone. Without them having to access the entire work page, you can just share it in the chat and have them edit it. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, super good. What about Planner? I see you also do stuff with Planner. Is that like I always get, do I use the kind of the planning function that is in Loop? It's one of the components that you can use, or do you go out to Planner? And my biggest bugbear with Planner that it misses is that on individual tasks, you can't assign them to individual people. You can do the whole card, but not down to the task level. Well, since I've last used it.
That might be your definition of a task. You can assign a task to individual people, but there's a bullet point checklist.
Yeah, the checklist items. I want to assign checklist items to individuals.
Yes, no, you cannot do that yet. Well, as of now, let's just say you cannot do that as of now. I did join a session from Microsoft yesterday, and there are really exciting things coming to Planner that I obviously can't talk about yet. But yeah, no, things are looking good for Planner. It's getting it's really getting a lot of love.
It's so good.
Yeah. Really stay tuned for Ignite and all the updates about Planner because it's going to be great.
When it comes to M365 Copilot, are there any of the in-app experiences that you would showcase more than others? In other words, for example, I never showcase Copilot in PowerPoint, but I would showcase it in Word, I'd showcase it in Excel, in Whiteboard, in Microsoft Forms. Brilliant. Just people are blown away with how quickly you could create a survey on a specific topic and things like that. But is there any kind of ones that you hero in what you do?
I recently started heroing the Make component in the 365 Copilot app. It's basically Microsoft versions of Designer. And I've always really liked it because you can make some really nice infographics with it. And obviously you can create your images with it. And customers don't really click through the M365 Copilot app, and it's completely new to them. Especially the infographic creation in the Make component is what really gets a lot of oh wow, a really good reaction. Basically, because they're not images; they are generated infographics with actual text boxes that you can adjust, and you can export it from the Make app as a PowerPoint slide, so you can use it directly in your presentations. And you can create a brand kit, and someone with a brand creator role can generally can centrally create your own brand colors and your own brand's fonts. So everything you create gets created in your company's style, which is that's something that's everyone really gets excited about. So that's got a standard place in my showcasing now.
Nice. I like it. What's your focus over the coming months from a upskilling perspective in the AI space? Like, what do you got? Like, what have you kind of set in your mind? I want to spend more time learning this or that, or I want to be at this point. I want to have learned some maybe new technology area or new ways of working with AI. What's it for you?
I think it's a bit of both. I definitely want to learn how to use agents more in my workflow because I think that's the next big thing. When everyone has their own virtual colleague in the form of an agent. But I also want to dive deeper into Azure AI Foundry because, like I said at the start of the podcast, I believe Azure AI Foundry and Copilot Studio and Microsoft 365 Copilot, they're all good for very separate use cases. And I believe you should always look at the use case and not at the technology needed. And I would definitely want to know more about all three of those, so I can make the smart and informed recommendation of technology that someone should use for a certain use case.
Yeah, so important. So I take it you've spun up your own Azure instance where you got some sandboxes set up and you're trying some stuff.
Definitely, and that was completely new to me. I did start as a system administrator many years ago, but by then everything was still Server 2003, and it was an on-premise data center, and everything was on-premise. So by the time I transitioned out of system administration and more towards productivity and the functional side of things, it was already Microsoft 365. So I never really touched Azure in any way. So that when it comes to upskilling, that was some non-intended required upskilling to get it all spun up and set. But yeah, it's really nice that we have access to them.
Nice. Well, it's been very nice talking to you to end the day and to understand your experience. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you so much for inviting me. For me, it's obviously a very nice way to start my day. I'm immediately awake.
Hey, thanks for listening. I'm your host, Business Application MVP Mark Smith, otherwise known as the NZ365 Guy. If you like the show and want to be a supporter, check out buymeacoffee.com/NZ365 Guy. Thanks again, and see you next time.